tell you what's doing my head anymore. Fucking England.
I don't understand. Watching that game on Sunday was like you just picked the team from the Junior League.
Our manager's called Tom, and he's a short twat too. If you've seen the old man, Max, he just said, our equipment is shit.
I've cleared everything that involves destroying anything in that bungalow. I've done.
I can see dead people. The statement for that is I can see rich people.
Yeah.
As rich people equals the road gets done.
Theft is a massive, massive problem.
There's a new government act coming out called Equipment Theft Prevention Act.
At the moment, we're trying to use electric machines to do work that's been designed and costed using diesel machines.
Is autonomous vehicles the way forward, or should we be doing more training, Charlie? I think, everyone fucking thinks they know what's going on, but no one's got a clue.
Brilliant.
The opinions expressed within this podcast are solely the individuals and do not reflect the opinions and beliefs of the sponsors or its affiliates.
God, it seems like a little bit longer than a week since last time we were together.
It's still raining though.
What have you been up to? What have you been up to, Charlie, in this lovely week of summer? But what have you been up to?
Do you know what? I've been doing a few things. So I bought a bungalow in December, right? And I've been trying to renovate it. So I've been trying to do as much as I can myself. That's what they say when you like renovating a house. Do as much you can as you possibly can yourself. So every weekend I've just been in there a lot of evenings. I built a wall. You know, this is a person that's sat at a desk for like 12 years of his life and never had a hands-on role ever. So yeah, I've been doing.
Why have you bought a bungalow? Too lazy to go upstairs, or?
Do you know who needs stairs? Like, you know what I mean? So no, do you know what? I got it for a steal. So I was like, stuff it. Well, can make some money out of that. So.
But you must have been, obviously you've been looking for a bungalow.
Do you know what? I wasn't. I was looking for anything and everything. Ideally, I wanted like detached. So a lot of bungalows are detached, right? So that was a tick in the box. But yeah, I weren't. I was looking for a bargain. That's what I was after. And I saw this one, and I was in the middle of another purchase. So I was like sort of sitting there thinking, should I, shouldn't I? And yeah, it came through a steal. It was on the market, 2 estate agents. I was like, they're desperate to get rid of that. So I put in a cheeky offer, lowballed them, got it accepted. And yeah, it's in my hometown of Wollaston as well. So that's where
you just admitted that, on camera there. Lowballed them. Did you hear that?
I did hear that, yeah. We remember that when we did meet Charlie. We have to lowball you, wouldn't it?
Got to be done. It's got to be done. So yeah, I've been doing that. Went to Barcelona as well a couple of weeks ago. So for a few nights. So surprised my friend for his 30th. So I'm getting old now. I'm turning 30 in July this month. Yeah. So getting on a bit, mate. I tell you. Yeah,
so you're over the hill, mate. 30. What you been up to, Mark?
Do you know, I've been running around all over the place, and I haven't had a day off since Christmas or a bank holiday that we've had.
Wow.
I'm in Italy in August, middle of August, so I've got a week there, so I'm really looking forward to that. But at the moment, I've been running around all the customers, all the sites, checking out what they're doing, getting more work, all that. I've just been flat out, honestly, and I've been, you know what it's like. It's been a tricky year, innit? I've been trying to generate kind of sales where sales are really hard to find. So, but it's been going well. So I'm not going to moan. We're doing well. I've been basically living in and around the M25, the car park, which takes me on to what's doing my head in. Just by the way, right? I got to tell you this.
Straight into it. Yeah.
I'm going to go straight into it because you've prompted
it really
this
is
down,
doing
right?
his head in.
Have you driven the southern section of the M25 recently?
I have, yeah.
You have?
Because I went down to Eastbourne, so yeah, it was a absolute, like, instead of a two-hour journey, it was like nearly a 4-hour journey.
That's my point. They've taken on too much. And if you're coming up from Kent, you queue up the M26 to join the M25 where it's 50. But I wouldn't mind if you could do 50.
I think no, in all seriously, Mark, I think that's, from being a North London boy, I think that's really to keep most of the people from Kent out of
That's what it is.
area. Yeah,
what, so we wake up in the morning and
that's
go,
what I pay my taxes for, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to go north. I'm going to stay south, son it. Yeah.
Well, I've been, it's a silly season at the moment, isn't it? Exhibitions. I think me and the marketing team and the guys have been all over the place, different exhibitions all over. Hillhead's the big one for us, isn't it, in our industry? Yeah. All the usual suspects were there. It's like, I don't know about exhibitions over here. The ones abroad, people go and buy stuff. Over here in the UK, it seems like they don't buy. They've already bought. They just want a photo opportunity with that machine. It doesn't seem like a show that it stimulates conversation, I suppose, but they're not. The stats show, or the feedback I spoke to people as well, and we'll get onto that later, is there weren't a lot of business done. There was a lot of business talked about. So
is that because of interest rates? The market at the moment, is that because of interest rates? Is it because of?
Well, you're normally the man with the facts, Mark. Yeah, but I can tell you, and found out yesterday, the actual, horrific stats on excavator sales in the UK are actually 46% officially lower than last year.
Are they really?
So that's mainly between 0 and 6 ton. They don't seem to be moving at all. So yeah, it was quite interesting though. Hillhead, there was a lot of quite good innovation. We saw a lot of electric machines come into the market. A lot of electric excavators. Battery seems to be the way that manufacturers still pushing through, even though JCB are forcing their through with their hydrogen/electric. But we spoke about it last time about that technology being a hybrid solution, more than just an individual hydrogen engine or electric source. They seem to be getting their head round the hydrogen tops up the electric. There was quite a bit of that evidence.
That's the fuel cell, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was interesting. Autonomous vehicle was the first time we saw an autonomous vehicle at Hillhead. Bell celebrating their 70 years as Bell with their trucks. They've been trialling an autonomous vehicle down in the China Clay place, wherever that's down.
Oh, Cornwall way, yeah.
And they had it on show at Hillhead, which begs a question really on the recruitment side there. Is autonomous vehicles the way forward, or should we be doing more training, Charlie? I think it seems like that's the easy way out.
Yeah.
What's the answer? I don't know.
It's really tough because obviously with the likes of AI and all these autonomous vehicles come into play. I mean, even when it comes to like the vehicles on the road, I think like taxi drivers, things like that. You've got operators as well that could all potentially be at risk, right? But it's sort of for a business, I guess it's a lot cheaper to have an autonomous vehicle, but they still need fixing. So you still have the engineers out on the road and that sort of thing. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it develops. I mean, you can slowly see as AI creeps in, like the sort of big footprint that it's starting to make on the industry and potential loss of jobs, that sort of thing. But then there's a complete lack of people out there in general in the industry and in the UK anyway doing these jobs. There's a lot of vacancies out there that need to be filled. There's not enough people. Ultimately, I feel like it's a case of, if that is the case right now, then companies are spending more money on automation and more money on AI to fill that gap. So
it's interesting though, isn't it? Because if you look at other industries, I like to compare one industry with another. And if you look at say the textile industry, right? My dad's a retired tailor, right? And they've mechanised, haven't they, the way clothes are made. You know.
Don't look like that. I mean,
what?
It don't look like he was a retired tailor.
That's why I'm just saying. No, I did use the key word. He's retired.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So obviously.
But hopefully, if that's one of his, then you're a wealthy man.
This isn't one of his, no.
Okay.
But so mechanised. They've mechanised the way we like. You go in, not being funny. You go in a store now, like Asda and Tesco's. You can get your kids' trousers for school, get them shirts and all the rest of it. And years ago, they were handmade. You look at, I saw an interesting documentary on Ford at Dagenham a while ago, and that was full of workers. In fact, their requirement for workers was so large, they used to have a ferry across the Thames. Did you know that? They used to actually ferry staff from south of the river, north of the river.
Gosh.
And of course, we know now, cars are pretty much built by robots, aren't they?
So what do we feel though? Like is autonomous vehicles, everyone talks about the future, but is it realistic? I mean, we've seen the massive cost increase in electric products coming into the industry. So what I mean by that is that you could spend on some pieces of equipment, the cost of an electric version of the diesel version is sometimes nearly double. When we're talking about adding autonomous and AI and everything else like that, is it a realistic thing that's going to come in the next 30, years even, because what's cheaper? Surely a human element is cheaper than and some training, you know, than killing the industry and everyone's spending what $400,000 now on a dump truck that you're still going to get £1,000 a week for.
This is the trouble. The rates don't reflect the purchase price, and you're quite right. The electric versions of the diesel machines are loads more. But what's driving it? The government are driving it a little bit. I've got a contractor who works in London, and the council are signed up for zero emissions, so they've got electric excavators. Wow. I've got on hire electric excavators, and there are challenges, and they've shared the challenges around charging that, and you know what I mean. And obviously, the working time is reduced a little bit. But I think it's client driven, but the industry's not crying out for it because the industry needs the job done. And at the moment, the fuel to get the job done is diesel, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the design element, and it starts at the beginning. At the moment, we're trying to use electric machines to do work that's been designed and costed using diesel machines.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So if you're going to design a project that's going to use electric machines, you might design in charging points, you might design in standby machines so that one can charge while you're using the other. Those that we're now trying to construct without that design. And I think that's why we're experiencing the challenges we are. When you get to a situation where you say, do you know what, this project's going to be electric or hydrogen or whatever it's going to be, and you design it to be like that, you put the infrastructure in to service that project, then you hire or buy the machines, because obviously they're twice as much, as you quite rightly said. It's all costed in.
Well, I'll tell you what's doing my head in, Mark.
Go on.
I was just going to say, fucking England. They're doing my head
don't.
in, yeah? They're doing my head in. I'll tell you what, right now, by the time this comes out, we've probably won it. So I'll look a fool, you know.
Very nice.
But the first 3 games that we've had to go through, 4 games, have been painful, haven't they?
The last one, do you know what? I got all excited, right? I thought we've had, because this is classic England, right? I thought we've had 2 couple of ropey games, right? I thought Gareth Southgate's probably got it in the ear roll now. We're probably going to pull one out of the bag, especially as this was a knockout game, wasn't it? Right? Yeah. There I was, right? Got my beer in hand, right? Got my chocolate, right? I'm sitting there watching the game, and they're running the wrong way. They're running backwards, right? And I thought, what are we doing? And then they're passing the ball between themselves, and then they lose it. Then they get it again. And I thought, this is actually a mess. One of the worst games of football I've ever seen. Right?
And I've thought about this, and I equate England football to that old, well-known plant hire company that's no longer anymore, because I can name them now because they're no longer anymore. Hillhead Hire, because they were great in the past, weren't they? But they never, when they came down to the modern playing field, they couldn't deliver, could they? And then they just went out of existence. And I'm just thinking maybe that's what we should do, and just watch the fucking cricket, because it's just absolutely the worst thing ever in the world is being an England fan, isn't it? You know, for the last, as long as I can live, travelling the world to different World Cups as well, spending my hard-earned, it's always been the same.
Yeah,
we always expect that delivery on time, like we did with Hewdens, and it was always late, hit the bar, went wide, or broke down. And that's how I think of the current England team.
I think that's a great analogy.
But yeah, so the other thing that's doing me head in is obviously the market is shite. You know, as I said earlier, 46% down on excavator sales in the UK. We rely heavily, which is quite strange, because whoever I'm talking to has got a different story, you know, and I don't know how you're feeling, but you talk to some people and they're going, oh, we're flying. We're absolutely flying. And then you've got to talk to other people that say that we're on our knees. We don't know where we're going. And we don't know when the market's going to change. Obviously, it's all driven by the number one election in the country, and everyone seems to wait until that's done before they make their move. How's it affecting where you are, Charlie? What's happening with you guys? What's doing your head in because of that?
I think for me, you know, with regards to, the election, it just puts everyone into a state of just, I guess, hesitation, really, isn't it? Like no one really, is confident to probably make an actual business decision. Investments are probably sort of being held off because of what potentially could happen in this election. So in terms of what's affected us, I mean, there's not been an absolute significant change. I mean, recruitment in general is up and down like a yo-yo all of the time. And, but we've got, more than enough roles to recruit for, and we've got candidates that are looking. I have seen that there are more people out of work of late. That certainly, seems to be the case. However, due to redundancies.
In construction or hire?
In hire, in construction to a certain degree, but I think predominantly in hire. And I think that it's strange because, like you say, there's companies that turn around and say they're absolutely flying, doing ridiculously well, and then there's other companies that are really, really, sort of struggling and clutching at straws with what they're doing. And I think that it's strange. It seems to me like there's companies that are struggling probably financially, just due to, I don't know, taking on too much debt or whatever it is. And I think that they are going by the wayside. They're potentially going, into administration or whatever it is. And then there's these larger companies a lot of the time that are then picking up all of the slack, and they're continuing those projects, and they're, sort of winning that business as a result. So I feel like that's potentially one of the reasons why you've got that sort of balance at the moment. And so as a result, you get people that are being made redundant out of work, and then you get companies that are growing and going under, I had a company that I was speaking to last week that was saying they're going under aggressive growth. And, to have that in one sentence and to have another, where a company's not doing well is crazy. It's a strange market.
I think it's reflected. We've been doing okay, and I think in answer to both your points, I think it's reflected largely on geographically where you are and what projects are going on. And I think the election at the moment is, if you take Lower Thames Crossing, for example, could, if the new party that win come in, they could kibosh the project. That's the end of Lower Thames Crossing. Now, for the South East, that's been building up and talking about a big project, that's a big knock on the head. And I just hope whoever gets in, construction picks up and grows, and that obviously machine sales and hire and recruitment will grow with that. But I've got some stats, and I don't know if you want to hazard a guess. The construction industry, I did look at the size of the construction industry. It's not as big as you think in terms of what it is on GDP. Have a guess on percentage what you think construction industry is.
Well, it's interesting because we always talk around that, don't we? Always turn around and say that it's the backbone of the UK economy, isn't we?
Yeah.
But I've heard it's never been as big as what people think it is. But go on.
It's not. So the construction industry is just 6% of UK GDP, which equates to 132 billion. Now, what's relevant to us is that of that, sales is between 10 and 15%. So that equates to 13.2 billion in construction sales to 19.8 billion. Then, of course, you've got the other side. You've got the agricultural side, because some of the stuff, telehandlers, all that kind of stuff is used in the agricultural industry. So you've got to factor that in. So agriculture, and this is surprising, this is probably reduced year on year. Agriculture, believe it or not, is just 0.6% of GDP.
Well, I'm not surprised if you see that them poor bastards on Clarkson's farm.
Yeah, well,
You know,
that's the one of only
I love
2
that
farms
programme,
left.
by the way. And how they keep on going is great programme. Anyway.
I love it.
But sorry, Mark.
I love it. Yeah. So including Jeremy Clarkson's contribution, that agricultural it equates to 13 billion. I'd love to actually see what that was, say, 50 years ago. But anyway.
What about Charlie's Mob?
Oh, Charlie's Mob. Oh, you want to go into the path recruitment? So, I don't know if you know this, Charlie. So, recruitment, and construction was lower than I thought. Recruitment's higher. Recruitment is between 1 and 2% of UK GDP.
Wow.
Right, this is for you, Charlie. So remember when you were a billionaire, between 22 and 44 billion a year. Gosh. So whatever your turnover is,
does that make you feel like mightily powerful now, or it's insignificant?
Well, it would if it was my percentage, but it's not. It's,
What car are you driving? That only gives it away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to stop for a couple of minutes to discuss our sponsors, Contract Plant Rental. So, Mark, what stands out about Contract Plant Rental?
I think we're a different type of business than your traditional hire business. We've got two areas of our business formed around a long-term option where people don't want to purchase the equipment, but you can still specify that equipment to anything you want. You can have anything on it, bells, whistles, whatever, and you can take that over a longer period of time. And we hold quite a bit of stock, so we can turn around hires long and short in a quick period of time. And then our other side of our business is we only hire to hire companies. So we have big Axis division that just hires to hire businesses. Why that stands us out a little bit is because we're not taking your work. So I can go to Mark's company. He's confident that he'll hire a piece of equipment, be it a mini digger, an Axis platform. He knows I'm not going to go and talk to his customer and try and nick that work. Because traditionally in the hire industry, you go to your competitors to rehire equipment if you haven't got it. This way you can come to us. It's unbranded. You have it in your name, long-term, short-term, from a week to 5 years, and longer sometimes, depending on the equipment. And it means that you can rest assured that we're just going to give them an excellent service without nicking your customers.
Which has been good for us, because rather than be a competitor or another company, we then have a true partner. So I can support my clients better because of the services and the equipment that I can get from Mark.
Brilliant.
Now, when you look at this, I like to compare other countries. You look at the construction going on in Dubai, China. A friend of mine just come back from Japan. He said it's crazy. He said every street there's something being built, a new bridge, a new motorway, and that to me, look, in answer to, some of the points you've raised, Charlie, construction being just 6% of our GDP and lack of work and things like that, shouldn't construction for a country that's moving forward, shouldn't construction be 20% of GDP? What are your thoughts?
I think absolutely. I mean, it should be a lot more than what you said. That 6% is very low. Or it seems like it is anyway. I mean, I don't know a huge amount about sort of what the other industries are in that mix, but yeah. I mean, all I can think is that you've got the likes of the Conservatives that have said about new homes. There's a significant housing shortage out there, and they pledged to build, I think, 300,000 homes per year over sort of by 2025. Yeah. And I think that I think in total that was supposed to equate to about 2.1 million, something like that. And I think so far they've built, I think it's about 1.2 million. So they've aimed to do 300,000 a year, and they're just about getting over the 200 mark. So, and there's this massive shortage. And then you hear about companies that are reliant on house builders that are going bust because they're not building enough homes.
Yeah, strangely.
So I just don't understand it,
And I think we've relied for too long on house building to propel the economy. If you think with the credit crunch and some of the austerity we've had, the saviour has always been build homes. And I think when you look at other things we need in this country, Heathrow wants a new runway.
Well, this is it. Homes don't, for a plant hire, it doesn't, there's not the equipment rental opportunities than there is with infrastructure projects, is there?
No.
So any government getting in for plant hire, for recruitment, slightly different, because construction worker, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
But for plant hirers, traditionally, we want the M6 to become like the new M7, we need that new motorway built. We need that big infrastructure project to drive the plant hire industry on, really. I think that's where. But then talking to people at Hillhead, as we said, and other exhibitions that we've been to, HS2 hasn't affected anyone yet because we hadn't got to that part of the project. The people that are on HS2 are still heavily involved, and they're still working. Some of the big projects, the Thames Tideway finishing off, and so people are still on big projects. So it's quite strange. I think you're right. I think it's regionally, where people are suffering and all that. But maybe the economy has a wild way with construction and plant hire, doesn't it, of washing out some of the companies that aren't strong enough, and that then boosts everyone else that is doing a good job, really. So what's you doing your head in then, Charlie, apart from hopefully trying to get into a bit of DIY, what actually DIY have you actually done? I'd just like to know what have actually you done in this.
What have I done?
Yeah,
so far.
Physically yourself, not got
Physically
a contractor or your dad or your girlfriend or whoever.
Yeah, I mean they wouldn't be knocking down any walls, which I've done, right? So I've cleared everything that involves destroying anything in that bungalow. I've done. So I've knocked down walls, I've stripped, everything out of it completely. So, it's just back to complete basics. I had to get someone in to do a bathroom because I couldn't really do that. I've then, I've built, an extension into my garage. So basically I've got like a kitchen that then is next to the garage. So my kitchen needed to be a bit bigger, right? So, what I've done is I knocked down a wall in there. It was load bearing, so I had help to do that. And then put in like the RSJ and concrete lintels, all of that lot.
You didn't do that though, did you?
I didn't do that.
Yeah, so he's done fuck all.
So have you noticed how he isn't answering the question? You were quite specific. You said, "What have you done, Charlie?" Not got someone in. Yeah. And already I've found out that he's got help getting a bathroom in. Right? Someone's done the RSJ because it's load bearing. Right? No. We're skirting around. Yeah. I'll tell you what.
Basically,
you should be a politician.
I'm glad it's only one fucking floor. Imagine if it was a proper house.
The garden's a state. The garden, I've not even done that. That's the thing I could actually do, but I've not even managed to do that yet. But so one major thing, I've actually built a wall and a room, right, with, what is it, like timber, plasterboard, all of that lot. And it's a good size. Like, I actually did that. I was like, whoa, that's impressive, I thought it was anyway.
You got light switches and sockets in it?
Yeah. But I got an electrician for that.
There we go.
Yeah. So didn't get the kitchen fitted myself either. That needs to get fitted by someone. So yeah, in answer to your question, very little by the sounds of it. But I thought I did a lot. But maybe putting it down now is not as much as I thought.
No, that's all right. It sounds like you've got a good project.
We're getting there. I'm not in it yet. It's annoying. I need end of the month. I want to be in it, but it does take its time. But that doesn't actually bring me on that nicely to what's doing my head in, because it's a completely different topic. But I've got a few things, right? So
let it out. Let it out.
And this is a bit out there, but potholes.
Oh yeah.
Right, potholes at the moment. So I was speaking to someone the other day who does like the what is it, the pothole pros? Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
They look amazing, don't they? Like that bit of kit. I mean, it's surely exactly what Northamptonshire Council need, right? And I believe they've got.
But we live in Northampton, they're skint. You know that, don't they? They're bankrupt.
I don't know if you heard. They are down south as well.
But yeah, that's a great bit of kit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, they're struggling to sort of sell them apparently to certain councils, certain areas. Obviously, a lot of the contractors are buying them, and they're obviously being contracted by the councils, and they're sort of getting their way sort of through them. But I tell you what, there's so many bloody potholes that are out there in Northampton. It's like literally I'll drive from like let's just say like Milton Keynes, and as soon as you get into Northampton, you're in Northampton because the potholes are in the road, and I'm like going along, and it's just insane. So I just think, what is going on? Why is there so many potholes? Why aren't they getting fixed? And why is the council not bloody spending money to get them fixed either?
I don't think it's ever been as worse. I know we always moan about potholes in the winter, but I don't think the state of the country's ever been as bad as what it is now. Because, funny enough, a friend of mine works for the AA. This is God's honest truth, and he said that because I asked him what, like, with cars getting modern and more reliable now, do you find, and with the software, do you find that you can't fix them? And he said, you know what? There's one thing at the moment that we do more of than anything else. towing cars to tyre places.
Yeah.
And apparently the tyre guy told him, we've never sold so many tyres as we do now, ever.
They must have a
Someone's having a
contract.
good time, then, isn't he?
Oh, we're in the wrong game, mate. If you're Pirelli, Michelin, or maybe even some of the cheaper ones, you're selling.
We mentioned house buildings and stuff like that, and there's an example of that. Funny you're talking about Northamptonshire. So in Northampton, there's a little development going on down the A43, quite a big housing development down there. And what I think, equally on that, doing my head in about that is, they built this brand new estate, and you drive through it, and the road was brand new, fantastic. But because they've either fucked something up or they've gone back in and changed something, they keep on going back onto the road. Instead of redoing the whole road, they just do the little bit, don't they?
Yeah.
So now that road is absolute shite.
Oh, it's like a patchwork quilt, is it?
It's like a patchwork quilt, literally.
It's probably the
And I
Bottle
don't
Pro
think,
that did that.
I don't think you just wonder with planners and councils and stuff like that, someone should come out and go, look, if you want that signed off, you've got to make that right. But that's what happens, isn't it? And because they don't repair them in little patches, or they only repair them in little patches, it's obvious what happens.
So
It's
this-
reoccurring, isn't it?
Yeah, I
is
get
what
your pain there, Charlie. I get your pain.
Well, last year as well, I was they ended up there's like a road that runs between my village and another village. It must be like the most least used road that you could possibly like go on, right? And they, in their infinite wisdom, decided to churn up all of the road and lay a brand new bit of road. It was probably like half a mile long, yeah. So they did all of that. They laid all this like pavement down, and then it was really, really hot in the summer. So it was literally like they probably did it in like May, and then July came round. It was scorching hot, and what I could see was that there was a tractor that had driven down that road in the heat, yeah, and churned up all of that brand
But
new.
do you know why that is, though, Charlie?
Yeah.
Do you ever watch that film, The Sixth Sense? Do you remember that film, The Sixth Sense,
Oh,
with,
yeah,
with
Bruce-
the young lad?
Yeah.
And he says, Bruce
I see
Lee
dead
says,
people.
he says exactly that. He says, I can see dead people.
Yeah.
Well, the statement for that is, I can see rich people.
Yeah.
Because rich people equals the road gets done. Yeah?
Do you know, like,
That's
what
why
is-
there's too many people. There's people around there that they've got some money, and they're on to councillor, whatever his name is, Graham, and going, look, mate,
Yeah.
I need me road
him a
done. And they say,
backhander.
you're saying, well, no one drives down that fucking road, mate.
Honestly.
But I do. I drive
Yeah.
down there once or twice a week, and I want it done, and that gets done.
Yeah.
That's what the how the world goes round. Anyway,
There you
you
go.
miserable pair of bastards. I thought I'd try and liven things up a little bit.
Let's go
So,
for it.
on their socials and all that, which someone will tell us what they are one day. We'll get that going. We had a question. I don't know if he's any good, but he said we'll put out to the members of the public that do follow us. That's probably your mum and mine. And
Come on.
mine's been dead 26 years. So,
I thought you said you see dead people.
yeah, exactly. Our question was, if a plant hire company had a theme song, what would it be? Now, I can't really name a lot of the people here because they've asked to be anonymous in the way that they might get fired by saying that. So the first one I thought was quite good was someone wrote in and said The Magnificent Seven. Remember that film?
Oh, yeah, I
Yul
like
Brynner?
that.
Yeah.
Yep, Yul
I
Brynner.
think there was a remake as well.
I didn't like the remake.
And he said the reason being is our kit works for 7 days and then breaks down for 7. So I thought, yeah, that's the one who wanted to stay anonymous there. I don't know who that was. Top Gun. This is a good one here. Top Gun. He said our manager. The reason why we have the Top Gun thing is because he goes, our manager's called Tom. And he's a short twat too. So that's that one. The next one was the Avengers. Personally, I've never seen the Avengers films. I don't know what the music is,
no.
but they're saying it's around about supposedly. He said the reason why we have the Avengers tune is because shit always hits the fan in the last 20 minutes, but we end up pulling through. Which is probably is that the game? Was that Avengers Endgame? Was it? Yeah. Is that what that was? Yeah. Mad Max Fury Road. I've watched the old Mad Maxes. Basically, if you've seen the old Mad Maxes, it just said our equipment is shit. Bits and pieces bastardised together like in the Mad Max film. A couple of ones like Jurassic Park, which was quite funny, symbolising, you know, heavy equipment and plant hire, which is fair enough, you know. Obviously a young lady that's written on that one. Claire, her name was. I won't name the company. Someone from Lynch Plant, funny enough, but he wants to stay anonymous. He says he plays that. They'd like to have the theme tune of Harry Potter because he always magics pulling an operator out of his fucking arse on a Monday morning when one don't turn up. You know, I think we've been there. We've ever been in operated plant. It's we've definitely been there. Everything's sorted on a Friday. We feel their pain, and then on Monday the geezer don't turn up.
It's all gone wrong.
Yeah, it's all gone wrong.
That's why I'm not doing temp recruitment.
Yeah, broken down. So Joe from a little hire company in Kent, he's gone Ocean's 11, as we call ours. He said, because I want to catch the fucker who nicks my bog rolls and stationery. And he says here he can't. You know, they must be that magical because he's got cameras everywhere and everything, and he still loses probably about 200 bog rolls a year.
And tea bags, I bet, as well, yeah.
Everything else that goes with it. Robin Hood. Someone said Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He said it was a good film.
That was a great film.
Again, I can't really say who that was because he says it's because our customers are robbing bastards in the rates they pay compared to what they pay us, which is fuck all. Which we all get in plant hire, don't we? Nobody wants to pay the money. It's a quick race to the bottom, isn't it? When it comes down to rates. Sorry.
Dutch auction.
And the last one I think I got here. The Matrix, probably the series of the Matrix tunes. Everyone fucking thinks they know what's going on, but no one's got a clue.
Brilliant.
So hopefully that livens us up a bit.
Yeah, hopefully they can have a better week next
Maybe
week.
to cheer you up, you two miserable bastards up, you know.
That's it. Maybe what we should do, what's doing your heading at the end, actually.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe get straight into that. One of the things I wanted to talk about today was, and it prompted my interest, and I know you probably got, when was it Hillhead? It was quite interesting, and not having a go at freights, you know, because they've joined, you know, they're the latest people to join the CSAR scheme. And I don't know if you know what the CSAR scheme is. It's a scheme for plant theft, and it's like a data tag that goes on the back of the vehicle. And but it's also got some interesting small data, you know, technology that you put all over the machine, little tiny chips that you can put all over, and NFI, you know, NFC is it, and all that kind of, where you can, if someone does nick it, they won't find everything.
Right.
Normally when you take a tracker off, you cut the tracker, if you know where it is, you'll never find the machine. But this, it means that if they do manage to get the tag off, which is pretty hard to get the tag off, if they do cut it off, you could scan the machine and you could find out it was yours, you know. And it's been a good scheme, but I'm interested to find out really why we think that people haven't really, many of LEMs haven't signed up as I thought they had. When I looked into it, there's some big ones there, but I think freights, you know, the article come out of Hillhead was really that one of the reasons they've done it is because there's a new government act coming out called let me just get this right, the Equipment Theft Prevention Act. You know, it's been around, it's been talked about. We're talking about the next government coming in and making it enforce that. So basically it means that it means the Home Secretary can enforce manufacturers to put some kind of tracking device within which they don't. They're normally retrofitted. But it's quite interesting to see that, and this is according to Opal, which is this is like the Police National Intelligence Unit. It's organised. I don't even know what that word means, but it's basically organised theft of equipment and assets, and that it's up again another 15% this year from last year on theft of equipment, which is equivalent to about £400 million worth of equipment sold, and only probably quite a lot. You know, the figures, if they're right, are probably around about 15% are recovered. So
Is that it?
yeah. So I don't know. My point being is that it was interesting. I'm talking about it because it was at Hillhead. It was at Hillhead. They had joined. They had a bit of a press release about it. And what do you feel? You know, well, the other thing that came up out of that, I found out that was that diesel theft is also up 23% from last year, and that's probably because now all the red diesel's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, it's white now, isn't it?
And it's gone in. But I don't know. There seems to be a trend. Do you know, what do you feel? You know, Mark, you're in that side. What could we do more? What you know to stop this? Is this a problem for you? Have you had experienced quite a bit of theft over the years?
It is a problem, and I never forget. Actually, we had a job in Essex, and we just made the rock system. You know, the remote operated cut-off, and it was it had come back off hire with the rock system, and we'd actually hired a machine to this customer in Romford, and we had to say to him, look, sorry about this, we haven't had a chance to remove the rocks because by default its emergency stop position is on, right? So you have to have the remote control and press resume. So I said, just take the remote control, keep it in the cab with you. When you turn the machine on, you'll have to press resume to use the machine. I said, just take the remote home. It's a bit safe as well, because if you try to nick it, you wouldn't be able to move it without pressing resume. As it goes, he did take it home, and as luck would have it, it worked, because that a couple of nights later, they did try and steal the machine, and although they could get the engine started, they weren't able to move the machine because it had the rock system, and that was just a bizarre coincidence. And we then were able to sort of look at that as a theft device as well as a remote stop. But you're absolutely right. Theft is a massive problem. I mean, one of the first things we ask our customers is, can I have a copy of your hired in plant insurance? And it's not because we think they're going to drive it into a wall. It's because we need to know that if it got stolen, they're covered, and we've got that on file. But I think it's a massive problem.
But what can we do more? What do you think OEM should be made to do more? Because obviously it goes back to, I remember when Hilti, you know, were going to come out originally with an anti-theft device that never came out, and I without being controversial, I think that manufacturers for tools especially and small stuff, they don't really want those anti-theft devices, because it means that they're going to not sell as much when that item goes. And it seems like similar to manufacturers of bigger equipment, that until they're forced to do it. But, you know, do we feel that, you know, something needs to be more done for the plant hire company, isn't it, really? You know, we're the ones that always, we don't get the full value with the insurance. We don't get, you know, it's a downtime. No one wants to pay for the rental when it's been stolen.
That's
you know,
true, yeah.
You know, what's the answer, or is there no answer, or are we just worrying about it? Because 400 million is what, Mark, in maths, to our plant sales in the UK.
You've got me now without a calculator, I must admit. But
I think
you don't have
before we have that on the top of his head, you know.
Yeah.
It's I think it was 2.3 to 3%, isn't it? Nearly 3% of the total
3%.
sales of equipment in the UK and agriculture and plant.
Do you guys feel like that stat is right? Do you feel like it has like sort of worsened by 15? Was it 15% this year?
Yeah,
last year?
we get a lot more. Well, in the last few years, really, I think you've seen, you know, a steady increase in notifications from people like CPA, who always, you know, fraudulent activity from accounts and stuff like that, don't you? And bits and pieces. But I feel that, yeah, we've always, as a plant hire, I think throughout the year, most of us will always experience 1 or 2 thefts a year.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the market, there's probably a few reasons for it. During the pandemic, obviously they paused, slowed down, or stopped manufacturing machinery, and then what happened was, as we went back to work, there was you know, you could order an excavator, and you might have to wait 9 months to 12 months to receive it. So that we were catching up with it, and I think that's spread out now. I think you'll find there's demand for machinery that can't be met, and I think, as you know, there are foreign countries that cannot get machinery and they don't want to buy it new, perhaps they can't afford to buy it new, perhaps they feel like they're getting second-hand machine, unknowingly buying it, that is stolen. So I think we're probably losing machines because we now, as a country, have got an improved supply.
So inevitably we have to stop for 5 minutes or so and for our sponsors keep us going. So PAR for one of their sponsors. I've worked with PAR for a number of years, and as I've said before, I feel they've been a major part of our business growth strategy.
One of the key things for me is obviously when you look at other businesses, they specialise in every sector. They don't have there's no niche. The great thing for me is PARF is the niche for our industry. The people that they've got on the books are for our industry. The vacancies that they have are for our industry. So for me and for anybody else dealing with PARF, it is the go-to place for the construction and plant our industry.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate the comments there, guys, and absolutely right. We that's our specialist. That's all we deal with. So we've been, established for the last 20 plus years, and ultimately we've got hundreds of clients that use us that keep coming back, and that's because we keep filling the roles. We've got a team of 13 people that are all very, very well trained and very, very knowledgeable in the industry, and ultimately, that's our bread and butter. That's what we do.
So do you feel we should have something? We spoke about it off piece the other day, about the car industry seems to be far ahead. It's one of my pet hates in plant hire, right, is if you could buy a car tomorrow, you wouldn't say anything about it. It could be sat there in a car park, unregistered for a year or 18 months. And because it's registered on that day and it's got a 74 plate or whatever the next one's going to come out as, you think it's brand new. It is brand new because no one's had it, but it's sat there for a year. But in plant, it don't work that way. It gets, when you buy it, it's 23 plate. Doesn't matter. So as a dealer, we buy it as all the 23 ones that we've got now, we're into 24. We still have to sell it as a 23 plate. So we've lost 20%, as a dealer.
Value, yeah.
And value already on depreciation. The customer don't want to buy a 23 now, he wants a 24. Rather than just being able to register it, he wouldn't know any different because all he's looking at is the RV at the end. So, and we're making that RV difficult. And do you think, we spoke about it the other day, Mark, about the car industry as well. If you nick a car, it's quite easy to find a car, isn't it, stolen, compared to plant. We were saying about the registration, and searching of the vehicles. And do we need to do more as an industry? We've got the CSAR scheme. It seems like it's always, to me, been there available, but not everyone's embraced it. Not everyone still knows about it. Do you think it needs to be more regulated?
Yeah. Why isn't there here's one then. Why isn't there a national, call it a tracker if you like, why isn't there a national tracker register where you buy a machine, right? You fill out your paperwork and in the price will be a registration fee or some sort of, because you're registered on the national tracker scheme, right? And if that gets so it's only live when you make the call. If you get there on a Monday morning and your excavator's missing, you make the call, they liven up the tracker, then we can find out where your machine is. But and I don't necessarily mean a tracker as we know it now as a tracker, because they know how to disable them and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Tracker, yeah.
But what I'm talking about is, how is it with, they talk about the banking industry, the criminals are always, the banks have got to be one step ahead of the criminals. Your bank card now is more secure than it's ever been, isn't it? 3 numbers on the back, PIN numbers, chips, all the rest of it. Why have we got the technology in other industries and it's not applied to a construction plant? Whereas, and you know this, Mark, from the purchase prices now, a 20-ton excavator, 160 grand, right? Is that about right?
It's about 115, 120, but yeah, I'll get where you go.
Yeah, 150 grand's worth of kit, and I've got Dave's tracker fitted up the road. But I wouldn't have Dave's tracker if there was where's all the great technology? At the beginning of this podcast, we talked about AI, didn't we? And some of the we've got the story you said this morning. We've got automotive vehicles run by AI. Is that what he said? You've got bell dumpers that can drive themselves, but we can't get an anti-theft device.
Yeah.
Something isn't right here. So I think you're right. There should be a national scheme. They all come together, whether it's some sort of AI, technologically advanced tracker system, but we need to find this kit. But there is another argument here. If your car gets nicked, it's treated a lot more seriously than if your dumper got nicked.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because you know, your car on average is between probably 15 and high end 50 for most people. You know, obviously there's 200 grand machines there, and you have like ghost security on them. You know, where you got to press the knobs before you can start it. But I agree with you. Like 120 grand's worth of excavator on the back of a lorry gone. You know, or even 15 grand's worth of excavator.
I mean, how is this
Yeah.
stuff getting shipped out as well? Because it's like, are they like taking it apart and then just putting it in a
Most of
unit?
it, just
and sending it,
most of
or-
the small, obviously, stuff go into
Containers.
containers. and
Yeah,
then,
it's like, why
you
aren't
know.
it being checked?
But we had a conversation earlier, didn't we? And why, when you buy a car, you get if I sell you a car, we got the V5 that goes over, haven't
Yeah.
we? So why aren't manufacturers, and we're just posing a question here, it's just food for thought, why aren't manufacturers, when you purchase a item of plant, why is there not a certificate? And you cannot sell that item of plant, again comes back to the national database, why can't you sell that item of plant and have a transfer, the certificate's transferred to the buyer, and then that's all registered on the database, so that if you, let's say you're down at Tilbury Docks, if I find that you're loading an excavator, one of my checks might be to check you got the certs. Guess what? You ain't. So that ain't leaving this country.
Yeah.
And that's it needs to be treated with a lot more seriousness than it is. Because at the moment, you can put excavators in containers and take them where you want.
I
Yeah.
think it's because we're driven by, any industry is not driven by end user need, is it? It's driven by manufacturer need, which is if I make it so tight, let's go back, you know, why in the 1920s was there a crash around the world? Is because one of the things was manufacturing was too good. You'd buy your fridge, you could keep it for 50 years. You know, that needed to change. The machines can't be that good, and they can't be that unstealable, perhaps.
Yeah. Because you sell another one.
Otherwise, you ain't going to sell another one. So, I don't know, being a cynic, maybe that's the reason. As end users, that's what we want, isn't it? We want to be able to keep that machine as safe as we can and get the best use of it, and without some tow rag nicking it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go.
So by request, following someone who's emailed in, I've got a top 5, right? So I want you two to get involved in this now, right? So I've compiled a list of the top 5 global heavy equipment manufacturers, right? So
Charlie screwed on this. I'm fucking
my
all
God.
over it.
right, okay. So who do you, we'll start with Charlie then. Who do you think
Number 5.
you want to start with? We'll go bottom up then, shall we?
Yeah, bottom up. Yeah, because you have a
Right.
bit of a rattler.
Let's go for this then, right? Who do you think is the 5th largest global heavy equipment manufacturer, Charlie?
See, I am going to be a bit clueless, but I'm going to put one in there and just say JCB.
What's the rules here? Are we getting a point for each guess, or?
Yeah, but is this unfair on
this should
Charlie
be
though,
like-
or not? I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
but you might
and
come up with a
VDAC.
top. You might come up with a top 5 next week for the top highest paid recruitment professionals.
yeah, okay. Maybe we'll have a podcast running scoreboard.
You never
then.
know.
Yeah.
Don't
Right.
tell him it. It might have been me that wrote in.
Yeah, funny enough, it's got dave@gmail.com. It sounds suspect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so Charlie, who do you think is number 5?
I'm going in at JCB.
You're going for JCB, are you?
Number 5. I reckon so.
See, I think JCB. I think he cares more about farming now than he does about.
They're a
global
big
growth.
marketing unit now, aren't they?
I'm going to go with. I'm going to pick one of the big American, but not the big Americans. I'm going to pick out John Deere.
Ooh.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, okay. And then I'll give you the answer to that, and then we'll work backwards forward. Shall we do that?
I don't know. You do it every way. It's your quiz, Mark.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm worried that me telling you number 5 will then instigate what 4 and 3. But anyway, okay. Right, so the number 5 is actually a Chinese company. Is it? You'll have to help me work out. Is it Zoomlion?
Zoomlion, there, the green manufacturer. I think, yeah,
And
they're very prominent at the moment, more in the UK with a lot of access equipment. But they do a lot of different products. They've got quite a big range globally out there at the moment. Not so much in the UK, but very much globally.
And do you know what? They've actually risen. They're not just at number 5. They've risen They've risen from number 10.
Really?
So that's a massive increase in their sales. 9.4. This is in US dollars, by the way. 9.4 billion in sales. Chinese.
Okay.
Chinese. Okay. Number 4. Who do you think number 4 is, Charlie? You might as well because I've started off the sales now. You might as well give me a US dollars figure, right? So number 5 was 9.4.
Yeah.
So give me number 4, and have a stab at guess at a figure in US dollars.
It's got to be I reckon, I don't know, 10.6.
You're not far off.
No.
Right, I'll give you that part. You haven't had your go, have you? Sorry, Mark.
Well, I'm gonna go 11.
11, right.
I reckon it's another Chinese manufacturer, because you kind of let it out of the bag at the beginning, didn't you? And I know number 3, so I know what number 3 is, and I should know what number 3 is because we sell that product. So number 4, I'm going to go for a Chinese manufacturer.
It is
Sany.
You're absolutely right. Although you're off the money though. It's actually bigger than what you thought. It's not 11. It's 14.4. 14.4 billion.
You didn't ask Charlie what was going to go.
I was about to say Sany.
You weren't about to say that. Hold on, you was going to say JCB again.
Yeah, I was going to say JCB again.
Well, do it properly, Mark. Otherwise, I'm going to cut this piece.
Right, okay, right. Number 3, Charlie. Give me a name. Give me a number.
Well, I think Mark gave this away potentially. So XCMG, I'm going to go for, and I'm going to go for. What was the last one? 14 billion, was it? Did you say?
14.4.
14.4. Ooh, I'm going to say 18.2.
Okay. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, it's XCMG, and I think it's about not much more than Sany, really. About 15 and a half, 15.
You're both right. XCMG, and it's 15.1 billion. Yeah.
Okay. We won't score this one, Charlie, because it's a bit unfair on you. But we'll do from the following weeks. We'll score it.
We could go. Ahead.
And
there's a forfeit for the loser at the end of the year.
Oh wow.
XCMG are now in the top 3 for the first time in their history. So
Wow.
they're seeing massive growth. Number 2, let's go number 2 then. Come on in. This has got to stump both of you, hasn't it? Who's number 2? Give me a name, give me a number. Charlie?
I don't know. I'm just going to throw a random one out there.
You'll know this one. I'll give you a clue. You
won't
would have
know
heard this one. Well, I hope he has.
Has he?
Well, I hope you've heard of number 2. I don't know where you've been if you ain't.
I have no idea. I mean, I'm just going to say.
Fucking putting that bungalow together, Mark.
That's what it is, yeah.
The last 20 years.
Yeah, but he's getting everyone else to do it by the sound of it.
I've had no heavy equipment on site. So
Right, okay.
I'm going to just say, I could just be completely out there with this, but I'm going to say Volvo.
That's a good step.
guess,
no,
really,
fair
yeah.
play to you.
Yeah.
I think it's either Cat or Komatsu.
What's the numbers though? Neither of you give me the numbers here.
I'm going to stick with my XCMG thing and say 18.2.
You're saying 18.2. I like your precision there, Charlie.
There we go. I thought
Mark?
I'd add the points in.
Without giving Charlie well, he doesn't really, but my opinion is I think who the biggest one is, so I'm going to go for Komatsu. And I think it's going to be probably 22 billion or 23 billion. I think it's a little bit more. I think at the moment, I would say, just looking at, I would say the top 2 are quite a bit away from the 3, 4 and 5 in billions, personally. I don't know though.
You're right. It is Komatsu, and 19.9 billion.
Okay, a bit lower than I
But
thought.
do you know? Shall I tell you what's interesting? Interestingly, that's a decline. They used to be 20. Look at this. I got the information here. They used to be 23.2 previously. So
Well, I think that's probably come about because of the three other ones that have entered the market, isn't it, globally.
But there's
the Chinese.
Obviously with the Chinese, there's obviously a lot of aggression there in capturing the global market, isn't there?
Yeah, well, I think we say XCMG, they put themselves out there being, but Sani would argue with them. There's always a bit of a battle that they're the biggest manufacturers in China, so they've got a market that maybe the others haven't also got. I'm not saying that Komatsu haven't got that market in the Far East. They probably have got quite a bit, but I would say that the Chinese would dominate in their own market. Therefore, that would give you. It'll be interesting. Maybe for next week you can come back with the fact on what that actually equates to in the UK market. Would be good. Wouldn't it?
That'd be nice to see how they're growing here.
How the Chinese are penetrating. But anyway, last one.
Right, last
I
one.
think
Right,
I'll give you a guess there.
right, coming in, Charlie. Name
didn't-
number for the number one spot. Who has got?
You gave me a clue there, did you?
Well,
missed
didn't I
that.
just give you a clue? I actually gave you the name.
Did you?
But,
oh,
you know.
I think I missed that. For God's sake.
Yeah, I missed that.
Oh,
Oh,
did you
yeah.
say-
Did he just slide you the
He
answer?
said,
Did he?
He's probably got a pair of boots by him.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. And he's going to probably say Timberland now, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Timberland.
Dunlop.
I missed your clue, so I have no idea. But I'll just.
No, hold on. It wasn't a clue. I actually told you.
Yeah, you actually told me. I missed that. You said it was like. What was the last one? What was number two?
What the number? The number
was the
two
number?
is
Yeah.
19.9.
No. The manufacturer,
Oh, the last manufacturer's Komatsu.
Komatsu. I'm just gonna say Caterpillar.
That was like a subliminal message, wasn't it?
Well, I said it's
that what you
either.
said?
I said it's either Komatsu or Caterpillar in the top two.
But that's
Yeah,
what I
we
mean.
saw
You've heard
it.
that
Yeah.
subliminally.
I thought I got that.
Yeah.
How much do you think it is then? What,
Oh.
you're both right. It's Caterpillar. How much is it?
They've still got to be mid-20s, surely.
23.
24, 25 billion.
24.8
Wow.
is Caterpillar. Yeah, they still are. Well, you know, they're everyone knows them, don't they? They're a global. They're everywhere, aren't they? Mainly America, aren't they? USA.
Yeah, I think it gives us down to a different conversation on another episode, isn't it, about the Chinese manufacturers entering the market and how that's affecting the other global brands and do people actually care. But yeah, thank you for that, Mark. Brilliant.
They
Thanks, Mark.
strangely, again, another one. Just want to add to that, they also saw a slight decline in sales
Yeah.
last year. So just interesting. It'd be one to watch. See how the Chinese manufacturers start moving the tables.
Yeah.
Certainly will.
Well, there you go, lads. Yeah,
Thank
great.
you.
So
Brilliant.
I can't remember how many points you got each, but I'm
I
sure
think I won that.
we'll tally that.
Okay, guys. Well,
Great.
we've got some. Probably let everyone know what's going on. We've got some good people coming up for guests. We're going to have some guests on the show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really
Yes.
interested. We've got recruitment experts, you know, people that own their businesses or people who work in the industry, not people that come in on that want to have a point of view and they've only just touched the surface. People have really been in the industry for a long time in different aspects. So we'll be talking to training businesses, plant businesses, contractors, strange new technology that's coming in from different manufacturers, give them a chance to maybe we can pose some questions or listeners can write in and ask some questions as and when we announce these people. I think the next one we've got on is Charlie's one of Charlie's relatives. Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Mystery.
yeah.
Ian Horton.
Oh, Ian Horton.
Mr. Ian Horton himself from the famous Path Recruitment.
Oh, nice.
And I've always wondered what Path stood for, have you? Because there's a bit of a thing in it. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
There's a bit of a thing in the industry that... no, it's not a joke.
no.
It's not a joke, no. It's a... People say it's plant and tool hire.
Mhm.
People say it's plant access tool hire.
Mhm.
What is it?
Yeah.
It's anything you want it to be, Mark.
But I think it's a quite
It's a-
genius way, isn't it? Because it's the path to success.
Well,
Initially, it was plant and tool hire, right? But obviously that can pigeonhole us because we do everything, right? We do, access, obviously, any specialist rental equipment. even, you know, go down to material handling as well. So it was like a case of like sort of, you know, should we move away from plant and tool hire as the name to like just call it path recruitment?
I thought you just called path recruitment.
I
I think that answer from Charlie tells you that he was involved in that decision as much as he was in building his fucking bungalow.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah,
Absolutely. I think I was about that big. When
Yeah,
that came
so,
out,
yeah, we'll move on then.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for
yeah. I'm
what a
glad I
great
could
day.
clarify that.
So,
oh, that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah,
that.
so-
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, okay. So thanks, guys, for today. It's been a pleasure as always. Looking forward to next coming weeks with some interesting guests. But, you know, as it says somewhere down on the screen there,
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. There we go.
That's it. There you
and
go.
we'll see you another time.
Make sure you share us as well.
Yeah, happy days.